All right, guys, so our very last step after you have finished your checkerboard of every other one and then switching to the next line and every other one on there, you've added in your circles, evened everything up, colored your stuff in nice and neat. We have one last step, which is going to be to add a shadow. Now, what we have to think about with the shadow on this is, just like you can kind of see here, my hand is casting a shadow on the table right around it here. But you see, the shadow does not go all the way around my hand like a circle. It's just this one part because it's where the light is coming from this direction, and that then casts a shadow on the opposite side. So what we have to do is decide which direction the light is shining from in our picture. And then we draw a shadow on the opposite half of that circle. So you are not going to do the shadow all the way around the circle like it's a ring that goes around it. It's just going to go over part of the circle. So you can do your shadow with either a pencil or a black crayon or colored pencil. Do not do your shadow with a marker because we're going to need to be able to kind of fade it in. So you can kind of choose which one you want to use if you want your shadow a little darker or if you want your shadow a little more subtle. I'm just going to use a pencil for mine. So I'm going to have it like my light is coming from this way, which means my shadow is going to be cast over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of hold my pencil way out here at the end by the eraser. This way I can use the side of the pencil instead of trying to use the point of it to color this in. And what I'm going to do is outside mine, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here for you guys. So kind of outside the circle, so I'm coloring on the checkerboard, and that's fine over the white areas and whatever your colored in areas were. I'm just going to kind of create a little arch or a little curve to start with. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going all the way around. I'm going to start really subtle, and then I can darken it up as I go. But I'm kind of coming around this side of the circle here. Not the whole thing. And then I'm just going to kind of come in and right next to the edge of the circle on that one part, I'm going to kind of darken it up just a little bit. Kind of darken the edge of my shadow up. And then I am going to go in and I'm going to kind of lightly fade this out. And with that, I can either color a little lighter on the edge right there so it gets kind of fuzzy on the edge like a shadow will. Or if I did this in pencil, what I can do is I can take my finger, or I could put a tissue around my finger if I don't want to get it dirty, and I'm just going to kind of rub it gently over where I do the pencil, and that's going to kind of fade it or smudge the pencil out just a little bit. So I've created my shadow on this one. Now the important part is your shadow has to be in the same spot on both circles. So if I put my shadow on this side of this circle, then on this circle, I have to do it on this same side. I can't have one on this side and one on this side because the light's going to be shining the same way. So I'm going to kind of bring this up so you can see this one, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to take my pencil, using the side of it. I'm going to color over kind of this area here. And then I'm going to take my finger and I am just going to blend or smudge that out. And it's going to smudge a lot more the white areas. If you colored with like a really dark color, you may not see it super well on your colored in pieces or that, and that's okay. Shadows are really subtle. Like on my hand, you don't see it super well, but you do see it every now and then kind of casting a little shadow like right up there above my hand. So it's not supposed to be this really intense necessarily kind of bold thing. So I'm just kind of darkening in right along the edge of the circle, and then I can kind of smudge that out a little more. Now, if you do it with the crayon, you would do it the same way. You would kind of go in and just lightly kind of color that in. The one difference with the crayon is you cannot smudge crayon. Wax doesn't shift around like the pencil lead will. So if you go in with the crayon, you are just coloring it in, or the colored pencil too. You are just coloring it in and kind of creating that little arch around it to just have this little bit of a dark shadow. you are not going to be able to smudge that in. And if you get a little bit of your smudge inside the circle, just take that eraser, kind of clean that area up, brighten it back up, and you should be good to go. And then when you kind of really zoom out and look out, it just helps create that little bit of shadow there that gives you that really three-dimensional look to your picture. And that's our last step for this, guys. We are all finished with our optical illusions unit, and we are going to be starting off with something new. All right, I can't wait to see what you guys did. Make sure you show me your final product. You can either submit it to me in assignments or make sure you show me during the live lesson.